Got a dark, pretty challenging subject to walk with you today on, which is mental health and suicidal ideation, meaning suicidal thoughts and tendencies to try and end our lives. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack around this. I've certainly experienced this myself various times in my life where I have felt deeply out of control, where I have felt there's no possible way forward that I can see any light, just dread and hopelessness. When I haven't felt I can handle life, like through illnesses and being in chronic pain for many years, there were these thoughts that would come and say, you can always just end this, right? And it was kind of almost a comfort in a certain way that if things got too bad, I had this possible way out, And I've worked with so many people over the years, and currently in the self-intelligence community, there are people there just specifically because of that, dealing with suicidal thoughts and being hospitalized and all these things. And I've got a lot of just deep compassion about getting to that place. And it's a very ripe, very, very ripe time for awakening to be at that place, because there's this realization, I'm having these thoughts because the person in me isn't able to cope with reality. Some people will say, I don't have a reason to live. I have no reason to live anymore. Like if my family was taken away, or my house was burnt down, or I lost all my finances. And you'll notice a lot of it's to do with loss, actually. Even if it's the loss of a dream. Someone who's working their whole life towards something, and that dream has been torn from them. It's not going to happen. There's no possible way. That could be for various reasons, and there are practical reasons why that will happen. And the person inside says, I've got no reason to live. I want out. And that's the interesting thing to reflect on right there is, does life need a reason to be life? Because even if I come to the point where I don't have a reason to live, I'm still alive. I'm still living. I still wake up in the morning, even if I don't want to wake up in the morning. And so the ripeness is to discover that who I am is in fact beyond the person inside who is trying to fulfill itself in this life and trying to handle a reality that is actually unreasonable. There's nothing reasonable about life. We try all the time, and we create unruly expectations on ourselves and others to try to create a sense of what's reasonable. But if you really have a look right now, when has life truly ever been reasonable for any length of time? Maybe it's reasonable for certain moments. It's like, yes, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with how things are going. And then something will happen. Illness will come. Breakdown in a relationship will come. Someone gets cheated on. Someone can no longer fulfill a dream because of injury or some kind of physical limitation or whatever happens. And it's like, I've done all the right things. I've been a good person, perhaps. I've done what is expected of me. And I'm still not going to get what I want. I'm still not going to get to fulfill the dream that I felt will make me happy, that I felt will make me happy inside. right there, suicidal thoughts will come. Right there, the person inside is arguing with reality. Because the reality is, it's not going to happen. It's not going to go the way that you thought or I thought or what we think is reasonable or anything like this. And so you may notice, it's a noticing. This is when these thoughts come. And to the degree that we are asleep to the fact that we are not these thoughts, because before that, it's if the voice in the head is speaking, the images in the mind are projecting, this is real because it's felt in the body, it's experienced, so it's real. And that's a dangerous situation because that's when we may act on suicidal thoughts and these things. But when we learn to relax and surrender back beyond the person that we believe ourselves to be inside, that can't handle life, that can't handle the losses, that can't handle the dream that's lost, that is overwhelmed all the time, stressed, unable to handle the sickness or the problems that are going on or the expectations that family have conditioned, put down, that don't align with our true selves, whatever all that amounts to, and it could be all of it at once. There is this witnessing beyond that. And that's the door. One of my favorite teachers, Eckhart Tolle, he discovered his true self as presence, as the witness, right before taking his life. He asked himself a very powerful question. And basically it pointed out, are there two of me? I can't handle life. Who is this I that can't handle life? Is there one or two of me? And in this questioning, the whole ego structure in him collapsed. So I want to say to those who may be experiencing this, because suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, overwhelm, stress, these things are mounting. They are increasing in statistics. I want to say to you, and if you know other people, that while this is an extremely challenging time, it is actually a ripe opportunity for major truth discovery. And not everybody discovers that in this lifetime. They take the route of control, and that's an innocent route to take, right? Because suicide is actually a way to take control. I'm so out of control with all these things that I can't handle and all these values I can't fulfill and all of these limitations that have been placed on me. At least I can do this. It's actually an attempt to wake up out of this dream, the dream of mind that is creating all of this hardship. But that can also happen in this dream. That can be realized while we're in this living body. And the person I spoke to this week, Janae, she has made that step on the Self-Intelligence podcast that's going to drop. She ended up in hospital, tried to overdose, and something in her said, when she saw the pain in the loved ones around her, how did I let it get to this? And she asked this sincerely. And what that meant was not that this is my fault or this, it's something to be ashamed of, but somehow there's this realization that I have let these thoughts, these perceptions, these perceived limitations, the idea of what I can and cannot handle, I have let that become truth. And it's not truth. Unfortunately for her, that led to an awakening and led to self-discovery. And so she is such an inspiration to anybody else out there. She was given a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, depression, anxiety disorder, all these things sort of amounted together. And she has unwound through all of that to discover the stability within herself. And it's just so touching that opportunity that is there, and that there are people, there is support to discover these things. When in the moments that this is being experienced, it's like there's no possible way out. That's where it has to be. There's no possible way, and the way is beyond. So if you want to tune into that episode to discover that beyondness that you may intuitively know is within yourself, even if you're not experiencing suicidal thoughts right now, or you may have in the past, or maybe you want to understand people better because there's loved ones around you that are having these challenges, tune into this podcast, episode 27.